Oh my God. I'm about to be 30, 30. I literally cannot believe it. Um, but one thing that I've realized coming into my 30s is like, I don't know if it's after lockdown or I don't know if it's an age thing. Maybe perhaps it's a bit of both or etc. But I'm looking around and I'm like, where's my people them? Like, where is my people them? I feel like friends and family have always been such a intricate part of my life. Like, they've always meant so much to me, like so much to me. I've always felt like there was a value in community, and I feel like perhaps having that, growing, being coming from African um, community and having actually lived out there for a bit in Uganda, I think even that like really made me realize like community is everything. Community means a lot. So I've always been that friend, that family member that will like check up on everybody. Like that's my thing. I love to stay close to people. I love to make sure that the people that I love know that I love them and I've got their back, and no matter what. Because obviously you get ups and downs with your family members, with your friends, etc., etc. But it's always been so important to me to keep those bonds going. Now, I also don't know if it's because I've got into a relationship. Like, that came into my mind as well. Okay. And I was like, kind of like, raw, like, now I'm in a long-term relationship and I'm so happy and I'm, that area of my life is fulfilled. It's like, I never wanted to be that person. I never ever wanted to be that person that got into a healthy, loving relationship or got into a relationship and then wasn't like cut off ties with their family and friends, etc. Because I always knew that I would never feel my social I would never be able to fill my social need with just my partner. Like, even though my partner's amazing and he's literally my best friend, like legit my best friend, but at the end of the day, like, I still need my family. I still need my friends. Do you know what I mean? But these days, I don't know what kind of like new age friendships that we're on these days or the communities that we're in, but I kind of feel like it's everybody for themselves, like every man for themselves. And I'm just like, it's crazy how this world makes us feel like we should isolate ourselves and then come out, come out these new people, and and then we'll be able to continue with our bonds, etc., etc. And that's not always the case. Like, for instance, my father, like, he has this idea of his head, like, that he wants to get to a certain level of success. And my dad is already wealthy, but I guess in his eyes, he wants to reach this whole other level of, like, richness and success in his own eyes, in order to feel like he can come and build a bond with his children and all of that thing. That's what he would say to us when we was younger, like, oh, it's because, what I mean, like, once this and this, and he would always have these excuses. But it's like, I'm about to hit 30. My other siblings are all grown up as well. Yes, I'm the oldest, but they're still grown as well. That we're all adults now, and it's like he still hasn't got to that point where he feels like he can communicate with us freely, etc., etc. He still hasn't got there. So my thing is this: even if he does eventually get there and then tries to contact us, it's gonna be much more difficult for him to build a bond with us. And I feel like even in our society, like, we all have this thing, and I get it is recommended that you should ghost. You should ghost and come out and then become this whole new person, etc., etc. But I think that's a very masculine way of doing things, and I would leave that to men. You know, as women, like, community is everything costs to us. Like, I don't know why it, like, well, I do know why. I do know why they're trying to make the feminine energy into masculine, and they're really trying to push us women to be so isolated when we have thrived off of communities. We've literally, that's why, like, mental health and all of those problems, etc., have always been rife in the male communities, but never really was as much as a problem in female communities, especially black female communities. Why? Because we always had a strong sense of family, strong sense of friendship, okay, to the point where we would call our mums friends and stuff like that aunties and uncles. Some of us didn't realize that some of our aunties and uncles weren't actually our auntie and uncles who was much more older, right? And I don't know, like, sometimes I just look around and I'm like, what happened to those days when we would all link up, and we would all go out and we would, have good times, and it was each other's birthdays, and would make sure to turn up for each other, and would make sure to celebrate each other and show love to each other and all of this stuff. But now I just feel like, because we're coming close, because we're now at the ages where it's like the rat race, and some of us have children, some of us have families, some of us have all these responsibilities, etc. And I feel like it's just turned us into, I need to get it. Like, I can't, be around my people them, or see my people them and all of this stuff. Or if it is to see my people them, like, we've got to plan these grand activities, grand things, so we can post on gram and we can show how much we're living life and all of these stuff. And it's like, we can't even come to each other's houses just for a quick little link up, for a quick little coffee, a quick little catch up session, a quick little drink. It's always got to be this grand thing, like, oh, we're going to this holiday, we're doing this thing, we're going to this place or whatever. And I feel like it's turned our relationships and connections really superficially. And I also would say that even though the internet and phones and technology and all of this stuff, like, are great for advancement, and they've done so much for us as a nation, as a society, as a generation, however, it's also taken away from us a bit. And I genuinely feel like it's affected our ability to really maintain our social relationships. Why? Because a lot of the times we think that it's simply enough to just be on the phone, like just a quick call or a quick message or a quick DM or whatever to keep in touch. But in my language, in my country, they say that, I can't remember the exact saying, but it's basically like, and in order for me to see you, I need to touch you, I need to feel you, which basically means, like, in order for me to interact with you, in order for me to know, you know what I mean, like, for us to still continue building a bond, etc., and all of this stuff, is I need to actually be in your physical space. I need to share your physical energy, okay? Because if we're not doing that, we're leaving everything to be the phones and stuff like that, we're not really going to, like, deep. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it makes everything much more superficial. The conversation's much more superficial. The interaction's much more superficial. And it makes us feel lonely. Like, y'all don't feel lonely? Like, I'm thinking, like, come on. And even though I don't feel lonely at the moment, obviously, because, like I said, I'm in a long-term relationship, I'm happy and all of this stuff, but I do kind of feel a sense of, like, damn, like, I thought when we was older, we was going to be linking up more and all of this stuff. And my mum did tell me, my mum's like, listen, your friends are everything to you now, but you will get to a certain age where, you will have less friends, etc., and your friends will mean less. But it's like, I never wanted my friends to mean less. I never, ever, that's never been in my intentions, because, like, your people, them, you got the right people around you. Like, those people are your RODs. And I think everybody, the problem is now we're all trying to do it on our own. Like, everybody's trying to do it on their own. Everybody's trying to get rich on their own. Like, imagine what we could achieve if we were to build things with each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we was to build with each other, if we was to help each other out. But it's like everybody wants to build in secret. Like, don't tell anybody what your dreams are. Don't tell anybody what your goals are. Evil eye this, evil eye that. And it's like, it's honestly such a shame, because we are human beings. We're not machines. We need social interactions. We need to feel connected with people. We need to feel one. We need to feel whole. And all of this social media, all of these things, seeing other people shine, and you think that, that they're living this best life, etc., and then you feel like you are somehow on the outside of it looking in, and you just want to grasp for that. What you want to do is get to those riches, get to those riches, get to those riches, get to that success. But I know if you get to those riches and get to that success, and you look back and you've ghosted everybody, and you've not built that time with anybody, then it's like you're going to come back with riches and wealth, and then what? You're going to buy people's love? What are you going to do if you ain't checked on people in time, and you ain't shown your loved ones and stuff that, like, hey, I'm here for you, like, hey, you're okay, or let's link up, like, let's go for a quick coffee, let's go to the park. Like, it doesn't need to be expensive things, but, like, I guess especially in London, there's this very much, like, social drinking aspect of things, and everybody, is like linking up at pubs or this or that, and there's always got to be a drink involved, or in the black communities, not in just the black communities, but in other communities, it's always got to be a spliff involved, or some sort of, do you know what I mean? And we can't really, and that's another thing, like, not being able to interact with each other sober. Like, don't you think that's mad? How many of you, when can you say is the last time you've gone and linked up with your friends and it's just been a sober thing. Like, no weed, no liquor, nothing. Just you and your friends enjoying time. Like, don't you think that's mad? And I start to think, like, if we can't even interact with each other while we are sober, then again, it brings to me again this whole thing of superficial connectivity. Are we really connecting with each other? Why do we feel like we are always constantly in need of escape? Why? And I feel like building that habit from when we were teenagers to always linking up our drinking, always linking up and smoking, like, I genuinely feel like this affects us, because then we think that it always has to be this extravagant link up when we're meeting up with friends and friends, etc. Like, and then we overthink things, if that makes sense. Like, so now, for instance, you want to better your life, you want to better yourself, and now you don't want to link up with your people then, because you're like, they're going to be on bunning weed, but I'm not on smoking weed right now, and all of this stuff. And it's like, you then have to end up distancing yourself from your friends, from your circle, because of the activities that they're still doing, which I definitely do recommend. Like, I do recommend, obviously, speak to your friends and family as well, because a lot of the time I think we can shut people out when they actually would be willing to help us along their journey, and maybe they don't want to quit certain things and they don't want to let go of certain things. However, they are willing to let go of it around you and to help you, because they still want to be very much a part of your life, etc. I genuinely think that you don't have to cut everybody off. You can definitely see if people can still mesh in your life, but I also do believe if you are on a journey and you're on a path in your life, and those people are definitely against that path, then of course you have to let them go in order for you to grow, because your environment is everything, and you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. And that's another thing that I realized. I was like, you know what? If I am losing a few friends as I'm growing older, and I am genuinely trying to rectify the things that I've done wrong to them, or understand where they're coming from and all of this stuff, but they genuinely aren't hearing it, then I have to also be happy enough in myself and content in myself, and love myself enough to know that, like, I can't beg friend, or even if you really do hold these people close to you so much, but they feel like you can no longer fit in their life, etc. Even though it's heartbreaking, like, dealing with a friendship heartbreak is almost, or could even be worse than dealing with a relationship heartbreak, because some of us have been friends for so many years, and we didn't ever expect not to be friends. Like, I never expected certain friends that I've lost to not be, like, for instance, when I get married and stuff in the future, or to not meet my children and all of this stuff, and for our children not to be interacting and all of this stuff. But I also have to reflect and be like, I've also played a part into losing the friendship, and sometimes they might have not been no played part as such, but just an understanding that people outgrow each other, and that's a hard thing that I genuinely did not know I would experience in my adulthood life. Like, I always thought all my friends, and I literally was one of those people that was like squadded off, like squadded off. I had male friends, I had female friends. My male friends I lost ages ago, much more older, because I realized, unfortunately, that 99.9% of the time, and I don't care what anyone says, 99.9% of the time, these friendships that you have with your male friends, like, more time, they would fuck, they would schmeat, okay? They would. And it's only because you are not allowing them that they're not crossing that line, or they're not, gonna overstep that boundary. And I realized that, oh, okay, like, see me, like, and obviously kudos to those that have got those friendships, those platonic friendships with other male friends, etc. And I genuinely rocked those friendships hard. Like, I genuinely, like, thought, like, these are my man them, they've got my back, all of this stuff. But each and every single one of them showed me at one stage or time, even though we'd been friends for years, like literally since secondary school, that if given the opportunity to schmeat, they will schmeat, okay? And I don't want to say, like, they will have sex with you, they will, because men be menin, like, I don't even mean to be, you know what I mean, but men really be menin. But in terms of my, like, female friends, and obviously I still got my squad of the D that are, I still got my cool friends that are still there, but I have lost friendships that are genuinely mean this year, that genuinely mean the most to me, or they genuinely did. And I was dealing with that hard. Like, I was literally crying on the phone to my man. Like, my man would comfort me and he would tell me that, listen, you're a good person, like, because I was genuinely thinking, like, bro, because I lost two good friends, like, and like proper, like, they've cut me off, like, there's no going back. Like, I've tried to bread them, they're airing me, like, I've tried to get it back, but they genuinely feel like, okay, I'll speak on one friendship. I feel like I've got, well, both friendships actually kind of is similar, but it's like I've got this really bad habit of blocking. Like, once I feel I'm one of those people that, like, out of sight, out of mind. So, like, I like to, anything that makes me feel down or like stressed out or whatever, like, I'm gonna block it out of my life, like, because I'm just like, I don't even wanna feel shit. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I'm always happy, like, I'm always bubbly, I'm always happy, I'm always positive, I'm always like just feeling good energy, good vibes. That's just me naturally. Well, I had to work on that. I had to work on my vibration and myself in order for me to be like that naturally. However, that's naturally how I am. But because of that, I genuinely hate feeling bad. I hate anything that makes me feel bad, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a relationship, whether that's work, anything that makes me feel bad or makes me question myself or makes me doubt myself or makes me feel less than. I am going to get rid of that so quick, so fast. And in those heated times and in those heated moments with my friendships, I genuinely feel at that time that they're not seeing me or they're not hearing me or they don't love me and they're abandoning me, and I want to abandon them first. Childhood traumas, etc., childhood triggers, etc. Not trying to give excuses, but it's the reality. I would feel like, okay, if they can't see that I genuinely love them, or I genuinely didn't mean what I did, or this, or I'm trying to get them to see where I'm coming from, and I feel like they're just like, oh, I don't really give a damn about you, or that's, they might not even be saying that, but that's just how I'm interpreting their replies or their responses, etc. Or I'm just being not heard, I'm being misunderstood. Being misunderstood is such a big trigger for me. Like, what I generally tend to do is just be like, you know what, block, bye, because in that type of moment, I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with you. I don't want to hear no messages with you. I don't want to get nothing from you. Like, I just don't want to hear. I don't want your energy to disrupt me anymore. But then, of course, I calm down and I'm like, oh my god, I miss my friends. And with one of my friends, I feel like with both of them actually, like, they literally just said, like, you keep blocking, like, you just on this blocking thing. And I feel like now that I'm in a long-term relationship, this is going to be me just being real and my genuine thoughts about this, yeah. But I feel like sometimes with female relationships, when we get into a long-term relationship with a man and only one of us is in it, yeah, I personally feel like it's easier for the other friends that are single to be like, oh my god, you've changed or you switched up. And I know everybody wants to say, because I've seen a lot of TikTok videos and stuff, and married people say, married women, they get married and then they forget about all their friends and I don't necessarily think it's that. And I do generally think that sometimes single friends do also have a habit of like being judgmental towards friends that are in relationship and not being understanding of the fact that, of course, we're gonna forgive our partner for certain things, or of course we're gonna spend a lot of time with our partner, etc., and of course we might not have as much time for those long conversations on the phone, or all of this or those daily interactions that would have been there in the past when both of us were single, right? And going out and both of us are single. Now I might bring my man with me and all of this stuff. Not always. If you tell me not to, if you tell me it's not that kind of vibe, well, I know that it's not that kind of vibe, then of course I'm not going to bring my man. But there's all these other elements, and generally speaking, I felt like my friends felt like I was willing to forgive, my partner or my man, and ride or die for him more than I was willing to forgive and ride or die for my friends, just because of the blocking thing. But especially with, this is one of my friends' issues with me. Like I told you, they're both, the issue is the blocking thing, but specifically with one of my friends, they were just basically like, okay, you and your partner had loads of these ups and downs in the beginning of the relationship, whatever, but you was so willing to forgive him, etc., etc. But when I annoy you, when I piss you off, you want to block me and all of this stuff, blah blah blah. But what I try to get them to understand is this: the punishments that I give to my partner are never going to be the punishments that I give to my friends. Like, come on, let's be real. Like, it's two complete dynamics. You might feel like I haven't punished my partner enough for all of this stuff, but trust me, me and my partner, we've gone through our stuff. And literally what I said to my friend, I was like, I cut up my partner's clothes when they pissed me off. I cut them up. I haven't done that to you. Like, why would I do that to you? That's a whole nother level of thing. So for you to say that, oh, I'm so quick to willing to block you, when I cut up my partner's clothes, when we had our issues in the beginning of our relationship, by the way, now we're so amazing, we're so good, he learned his lesson. And then because I've forgiven him, and he's also forgiven me, by the way, as well, for cutting up all his stuff, why would you then bring that dynamic in? Like, it's too, like, I also need to speak on that, guys. Like, seriously, like, have grace with your friends that are in relationships, because let's be real, you lots want that as well. You're like you single women, some of you want that as well. You lots want to be happy in relation, and you should be happy for your friend, that your friend has found happiness. But also speaking on the other side, friends that are in relationship, like, don't forget about your friends, etc. And the reason why I'm not diving too much deep into that is because I feel like there's already so much conversations on that. But what about us people that get into relations, get into stuff, but we still very much keep in touch with our friends? We're still actively checking up on them, we're still actively seeing their right, still wanting to link up, still wanting all of this stuff, but maybe we're not getting invited no more, all of this stuff, and people are just generally icing us out or feeling some type of way, or because, and I do think that's a thing. I don't care. I feel like that's a thing. I feel like sometimes it is harder for women to feel happy for each other, or friends, female friendships, to stay in touch and all of this stuff, when one of you is in a much more serious relationship and the other one, or than the other, or etc. Like, I kind of feel like it's like, just like with the money thing, like, if you feel like your friend is up, like, you can't be around them until you're up and you need to get your life sorted. Or if you feel like your friend's in a relationship and they're happy, then it's like you don't want to feel like you can be around your friend until you're happy in a relationship as well. And then that's when you feel more comfortable to come around and all of this stuff. And I peep it. I do see that. And it's like, it's so sad, because I just would never want my friends to compare my relationship with them to my relationship with my man, because, like, relationships, like, even though my man is my man and I love him to death and I definitely do feel like he's my husband, but he's not my husband yet. So relationships do come and go. Like, friendships, like, I'm expecting that for life, and then I'm realizing that friendships come and go now as well. Like, that whole emphasis that we put on friends, that, oh my god, friends are ride and die forever, and they're always going to be your family, and all of this stuff, like, that whole emphasis that I put on it, I'm realizing that it's actually not as deep as I thought it was. That it's your family. That's what I'm clocking, like, family, man, because family will always be family. And it's such a shame for me to realize that. And I do hope that I get to keep my friends that I do have, and maybe learn from my mistakes as well, to with the blocking thing, like, because I'm deep in it. But I just never would have thought, like, that I would lose. Maybe that's a selfishness in me, or that's an ignorance in me, to think that I can just block my friends and unblock them. But maybe because I'm thinking it's not even for that long. Like, I'm not even doing it for that long. Like, come on, I always, like, get over it quite quickly. And I'm just like, but like my other friend said, just because you get over things on your own time, and then you can get over things and you can just move on so quickly, it doesn't mean everybody's like that. And it's so true. It's so true. But I genuinely just think, speaking as a woman in a relationship, like, and still loves her friends off and her family, and still wants to be in great touch with them, like, yo, like, allow us, shout us, man, like, invite us out, like, like, it's not, oh, just a man. Don't think just because your friends got into a long-term relationship that all of a sudden now you have to step back because you feel like you're going to be pushed back anyway. Like, no, come on. But damn, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, but now I'm not gonna lie, because of my issues with losing friends and all of this stuff, and feeling so down and feeling lost, and blaming myself and thinking like, oh, I must be such a bad person and all this stuff, and what I've just done is like learn from it, learn from my mistakes, learn from what my friends were saying to me, which is like, yo, you just can't keep blocking us and unblocking us and all of this stuff. Like, they've never blocked me, and it's always been me to block them first and all of this stuff. I've just learned from them and been like, okay, I need to somehow be able to communicate that, hey, I feel this type of way, I need space now, can we like table this and come back to it another day, or and communicate like that, instead of being so quick. And in that, because in that moment, let's be real, in that moment you feel like your friends are indispensable, isn't it? Your friend has pissed you off, you're like, you know what, I don't need you. I don't need you. You know what? You're like, you're this and that. And in those moments, especially when when your friends are telling you like, oh, you feel like, they feel like you're putting their man above you and all of this stuff. And in those moments, you are feeling like, bro, you lots are just hating. You're just hating on the fact that I've got a relationship to do all of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, obviously, when you calm down, you realize that, hey, like, your people, then they do love you. Your people, then they've done this for you. You know, you've had all of these amazing memories and all of these amazing experiences with each other, and you've got these strong bonds, and hey, you miss them, and then you unblock them and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, and now they're not willing to interact with you, and that can hurt so much, and you might never ever be able to rectify those relationships, etc. But I would say, like, now it's made me, even though, like I said, my family's always been everything to me, but now my bond with my siblings, like, just nurturing that, and the fact that my little sisters are also growing up now as well, and it's like having that bond with them and knowing that, like, okay, I might lose friends, I might lose relationships, but my family is forever. And even though me and my mum, we've had such a my god, I'm African, I'm the oldest daughter, so you already know what it is. My mum's an immigrant, so you already know what it is. But I would say, like, just building that bond back with my mom, seeing where she was coming from, seeing the hardships that she's gone through, and just appreciating her more and more and more, has made me feel like, you know what, I am connected to people, but I just want people to have more time. Like, I definitely should have more time to see my family in that as well, so that's something I need to work on as well. So definitely can't be throwing rocks in a glass house and all of that stuff. But yeah, so to anybody that kind of feels like, wow, I'm losing a lot of friends, or I just don't feel connected with my loved ones anymore, and what should I do, etc. Reach out to people, and if you feel like you're breading them, then I would recommend definitely taking a step back. But before you just take a step back because you feel like you're the one that's always getting in touch, explain that and see what they say, because I had to explain that to my friends, and then they were like, listen, I'm just grinding right now, I'm just trying to get it in, like, you know, I love you, I've got you, but right now I'm in grinding modes. And I had to be understanding and loving as a friend, to be like, hey, I love you and I understand you, and I know you would give me the same grace, so while you're in that grinding mode, you grind, I'm rooting for you, I'ma still check up on you though, but you know, if we can't link up right now, if we can't do this or we can't do that, then that's fine. I'm gonna love you the way you're asking me to love you, but I'm just gonna also let you know how I need to be loved as well, just so you can also bear that in mind. Do you know what I mean? And make sure that it's still a healthy two-way street, because you don't want to be overexerting yourself and not reciprocating that same energy back, because that's just going to be depleting you and make you feel really, really shit and make you feel less than, okay, which you don't want. But definitely see your family members. Like, we shouldn't be going months without seeing our family members or our friends, and it's ridiculous that we even make this a norm. Like, oh yeah, like like, that's not normal. But in this first world country, like, they make it out to seem like that's so normal. If we was back home, we would never be going that long without seeing our friends and family, and we probably would have less opportunities and all of this stuff. Some of us would have way less money, but yet we would still be seeing our people them way more often. And I feel like that's why people back home, oh my god, I've just deeped it. Because I was looking at a video that my mum sent me. She sent me all these videos and celebrations on my uncle's 60th birthday, and everybody's having a great time. And it's like, they literally just lost their younger brother recently. Well, my cousins lost their younger brother. One of them lost their wife as well. Their wife and their son. Like, all of these deaths recently, I'm talking about recently, and yet they're all having a great time. Everybody's linked up. They're having such a ball. Everybody's happy. And even my stepdad, he's there in Uganda right now. He's burying his mum. And I spoke to him, and he's all happy in that, like. And why? Because of that community thing. You see here, the reason why depression hits us on a mad thing, that depression knocks us out. Why? Because here we're so isolated. It's every man for themselves. We don't share our burdens. We don't share the load on all this stuff and so that's why we feel like when bad things happen, where we just turn into depression, into anxiety. We're just so numb. We're so like, because we ain't got each other's back, because we're not in that community spirit, because we're not seeing each other. We're just, everything's on the phone, technology. So link up with people, meet your people, them, spend love, spend time. I promise you, like, the whole materialistic thing that we are spending all our life and our energy trying to grind for, and that we've been lied to, and we've been told that that's the key to our happiness. But look at the P Diddy's of the world, with all their wealth. Them man put in 50 million for them to come out of jail, and they still can't even come out. So look at that. Look at that, Iyaahni. So the things that we're chasing aren't really the things that we should be chasing. We are human beings, Iyaahni. And on top of that, we are gods having a human experience. And the only reason why we created this whole freaking game in the first place was so we can feel connected. Because if all I is all I is, and is all there is, then don't you think that that could be a bit lonely? So wouldn't it be so amazing if we could replicate and duplicate and create all of these differences within Iyaahni as I, in order for us to experience the experience of I self, right? So we can love on each other, right? That's the whole reason for this game. That's the only reason. Otherwise, we could have just remained I within I and just dreamt all these dreams. But what we wanted to make these dreams realities, we wanted to make all of these, we wanted to put breath into all of these characters, into all of these roles, etc., and see how we interact with one another and experience the love that I can give to I from outside of I. Because it's all fun, because remember, in spirit, it's like being in your head. So yeah, you can think, like right now, I can think of being rich. I can think of eating the best meal I've ever tasted. My mom's cooking definitely is on there. I can imagine all of that. And I can really focus so much, especially the more you visualize, the more easier it is for you to really feel that feeling and I feel like you're experiencing in that moment so much. Like it's truly here right now. However, nothing beats actually experiencing it, Iyaahni. Nothing beats actually tasting it. Nothing beats actually feeling it, seeing it with your own sight. Nothing beats that, which is why we did all of this, Iyaahni. All of this. So don't forget, Iyaahni is I.